because I always say it's 3 ways to see the world. It's 3 ways to see the world. You want to see the world single, you want to see the world with your woman, and you want to see the world with your family. So hit the trifecta, and then just keep traveling the world.
What's happening, y'all? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now, where we're bringing the village to the brothers. Every couple of weeks, you can look forward to a quick inspirational message or a thought-provoking guest with knowledge and wisdom, all geared towards helping you be the best father that you can be. We're bringing the village to you. Now it's your turn to do something with what you learned. All right, y'all. Let's go. What's going on, fellas? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now. And yo, I have a dope guest on today. And I brought this brother on because he brings a perspective to life that we all need to incorporate, and it's something that's going to help us all grow and become the best versions of ourselves. And once again, once we become the best version of ourselves, we ultimately will default into becoming the best father that we can be. And this brother that I have on goes by the name of Worldwide Nate. His government name is Nathan Fluellen, but you probably have seen him across social media platforms or on Ebony or Essence, Travel and Leisure, somewhere as Worldwide Nate. And he's the creator of this particular platform, Worldwide Nate, the quintessential guide to living a global lifestyle. And he's been traveling the world since 2004. He's visited 60 countries and 6 continents. And he hit me to the fact that he's going to make that 7 this year, so I guess Antarctica's coming. And in March of 2016, he became one of the first sponsored U.S. tourists to visit Cuba in over 50 years. He's a graduate of Tennessee State University. He's also a fitness enthusiast, and he trains 6 days a week. And we're going to have to jump into that, too, because I know travel and training sometimes don't always go hand in hand for most people. But, fellas, the Black Fathers Now family, let's welcome Worldwide Nate, Nathan Fluellen. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Can't complain. It's another beautiful day.
That's what I'm talking about, my brother, man. Hey, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. I assume you're probably on a layover somewhere with all the traveling you do.
Yeah, sometimes it be like that, but luckily today I'm in LA in the comfort of my home. I'm not traveling as much these days. We work on these episodes for the TV show, so I'm able to enjoy the palm trees and sunshine. The reason I moved to LA.
That's it, my man. So tell the brothers a little bit more about yourself, man. I know I gave a snippet of your intro. You're in LA. Where are you originally from, my man? Tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, from the South Side. And I graduated from Tennessee State University and spent a few years down there. And then I'm in LA now. But it's like what I tell people is I live in the world. I just vacation in LA. So everywhere I go, I always feel like I'm home. And that's because of I meet some great people along the way, and travel is my passion and the lifestyle. So it's just I'm inspired by meeting new people. I'm just like a sponge. I never get tired of the adventure of leaving, getting on the plane, being lost in translation, the misadventure, because the adventure is in the misadventure. So it's always about new experiences and being outside of my comfort zone. Well, yeah, I guess you could say being outside of a traditional comfort zone, but I always live, I guess you could say, uncomfortable.
I love the fact that you said the adventure is in the misadventure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's that in itself could be a whole topic right there. The adventure is in the misadventure. That is dope. So you mentioned that you're basically you live in the world, but you just happen to vacation in LA, so to speak. So is your full-time occupation that of Worldwide Nate, or do you do something else and travel is just kind of like your passion and side gig? Like, talk to us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, no, Worldwide Nate is the full-time job. You could say traditionally I am a blogger. That's what I've been doing for the past 12 years. I never had a 9-to-5 job, so I've just been hustling with Worldwide Nate over the past 12 years or maybe even longer now, 15, about 13 years now. No, it's 2018, 14 years. Well, the years keep growing and growing, but 14 years, and I just been, just had a passion for travel, and that's what I do. I create content, telling these stories, and trying to inspire, our people, black people in general, to travel the world and get, and just be present in the world. Because then once you're present, your voice can be heard, and you can control your narrative, as opposed to the machine of the media conglomerates, telling the world who we are. We could tell the world ourselves if we get out there and travel. But if we just confined in our city, county, state, country, then we're limiting ourselves. And that's what we fight for. That's what we fought for all these years, to not be limited. So you got to be proactive to, be limitless.
You dropped the nugget right there, and I hope the brothers caught it. It's like, once you're present, you're able to control your narrative. It's like that is deep, man. Like, once you're present, once you're there, once you are present in the moment, you have the capacity to control your own narrative. And for the longest time, especially as black folks, we have not told our own story. You know what I'm saying? We have not controlled our own narrative. It's been, the person with the biggest microphone, or the person with the biggest budget, or the person with the platform itself who tells the story. But now it's so important for us to tell our own story and control our own narrative. That's powerful, brother.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. And so you said since 2004 was kind of when this thing started off. Like, how did the whole worldwide travel thing jump off? And then really, how did you turn this into a career? What inspired it, one, but then two, what turned this whole thing into your full-time gig? Because you said you've never had a 9-to-5. That's where a lot of us want to go, is away from the 9-to-5 thing. How did this thing jump off, man?
Yeah, so, I always give credit to Tennessee State. That was an influential part of my life. And during that time, my professor, my economics professor, he had written an autobiography about his travels. And the name of his book was Crossing Cultures, Memoirs of a Traveling Man. And he had been over 80 countries when he had gave me this book. And he signed it, and he challenged me to see more countries than him to be an entrepreneur. So when he did that, I was like, oh, yeah, I could do this. Because, the idea was that, he had his book, his 800-page book, 600-page book, and I'm like, oh, well, I know that technology is going to advance where I could write a book and then it can be interactive with photos and videos, which is basically like the iPad now. And so initially I was just wanting to collect all my travel experiences so I could share them with my family, and eventually write a book. And so I just started traveling the world. And then technology started advancing with YouTube, with MySpace is when I started blogging about my trips, and people would read it, and people would read it, and they would be entertained by it, captivated, and they people would reach out to me and say they would want to go on the trip and do the same thing that I just did, and ask if I could go, if I could take them on a trip. And then I got a camcorder, and it started creating webisodes, and it just kept growing from there, with producing content and telling me stories and showing people what I was experiencing. So I wasn't trying to hoard my experiences. I wanted to share them.
So in essence, this thing manifested into a business because you were not trying to hoard your experiences. You were trying to share them.
Exactly.
Wow. Fellas, another value bomb just dropped. Sharing your experiences turns into big things. Sharing turns into, oh my God, that is not hoarding your experiences. I'm delaying a little bit because I'm writing this stuff down, because these are some value bombs, man. And so that in itself kind of spawned into the career of basically being a full-time travel blogger, travel writer, and all of that. How did you catch the attention, I guess, of various brands or whatnot to help support this?
Yeah, well, I guess you could say I lucked up, or God manifested itself with my cousin. She was working for Ebony at the time, and she introduced me to the director of digital, this guy named Eric Easter, and they needed content because that was like the beginning of people wanting content, And so it worked out where I started contributing my webisodes to ebony.com. And then so I was contributing some episodes, and then he called me up one day, and he was like real casual, like, "Hey man, you know, we our travel editor, he has a funeral that he has to attend, and we got this trip that we would want to know if you want to cover it. And I know I know it's last minute, so if you can't do it, I totally understand, but if you don't mind, could you go to the Bahamas next week to cover the Miss Universe pageant?"
Do you have to ask?
I was like, what? I was like, yeah, I got time. Like, sign me up.
That is wild. So you captured the moment. It was just like right place, right time. You were already doing what you loved, but by doing what you loved and not hoarding your experiences, but sharing your experiences, led to the connection with Ebony through your cousin, which ultimately landed to the opportunity to capture the moment, and you grabbed that bad boy and ran with it.
Yeah, it just kept growing, because then I started learning about like dealing with media partners and even just, you know, press trips, because I was considered a press trip. And meeting other travel journalists, and then discovering a whole world of people that are just as passionate about travel as me, that, you know, are employed by companies, but just being in present to have access to you know, my future colleagues. Mm-hmm. And so that was like, you know, touches to my point as far as like being present. You could, you know, control the narrative. So I had that opportunity to go, and then I could share my story and what I was doing with these people that had never heard of me, and I'm learning from them as well. So it was just the opportunity of just believing in yourself, believing in your dream and what you want to do, and keep pursuing it by any means necessary.
You know, it's interesting. You went back to the moment, to the notion of being present. But something else that I'm also kind of capturing through your story is the concept of infinite learning, right? It's like, to me, like my wife and I, we love to travel. We love to experience new cultures, to deep dive with folks who are totally different from us, to learn. Because at the end of the day, when you expose yourself to new things, new ideologies, new thought processes, it helps you to expand your purview of the world itself. But then you ultimately learn to expand yourself and for yourself to grow. But I think that all comes back to this whole concept of being curious, but then being an infinite learner. Right? So do you consider yourself like kind of like an infinite learner when you really step back and think about this whole travel thing and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, I would totally agree, because, you know, even as experienced as I am, I still make rookie mistakes from, you know, that I call them from time to time. So you always learn. You're always learning. You're always learning. So it never stops.
Always learning. And one of the things you also mentioned earlier was the concept that, you know, one of the things that sparked your interest in travel was reading the autobiography or reading the biography of one of your professors who had traveled to 80 countries and then accepting his challenge. And so that also kind of lends itself back to the whole notion of you're learning, because you chose to go and read the biography of this guy, but then the challenge of going forward allowed you to learn more about yourself and learn more about just to learn more about yourself. I mean, this thing comes back to this whole curiosity, this learning, this desire for, you know, for new things and new experiences, but then the fact that you are a person that wants to share those experiences, and that led to where you are today. Dude, this is awesome. Like I'm sitting here stoked, man. I love stories. Like I love stories, I love backgrounds, and I love people's journey, because you learn so much about someone's journey. You learn so much about a person by just kind of observing their journey, so to speak. So this is dope, man. And so you mentioned you've been to 60 countries and 6 continents. Talk about like some of the most dope experiences you've had, but then also maybe share some of the challenges, because, you know, we want to have a balanced perspective when it comes to travel. I mean, it's not all, you know, glittery and golden, this and that. Sometimes there are some challenges, but talk about some of the dope experiences and some of the challenges you faced over the years.
Yeah, I would say going to Africa to film my TV show had been the dopest experience to date, because I had visited 7 countries. I went to South Africa, Lesotho, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Rwanda, and Congo. And the premise of the show, the name of the show is Worldwide Nate African Adventures. So in each episode, I'm doing an extreme adventure activity. So in one episode, I'm saving a black rhino that escaped from the game reserve from poachers, transporting Cape Buffalo, scuba diving with no cage with black-tip oceanic sharks, with oceanic black-tip sharks. I did a 6-hour hike to the top of the Nyiragongo volcano in Congo and spent the night at the top and observed the world's largest lava lake.
Wow.
I competed with the Maasai warriors in the Maasai-style Olympic Games, which incorporates their tradition into the games, where I was throwing a javelin, a rungu, which is this wooden type of axe. Did the high jump and a 100-yard dash. Then I was surfing with the Zulu boys, these black surfers in Durban. Went ice climbing in Drakensberg, was mountain biking in Lesotho, did a rappel down the largest single drop commercial abseiling in Lesotho. Went to the Zambezi River, it's a grade 5 river, and did the whitewater rafting, bungee jumped and bungee swing on this bridge that's suspended between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Went and hiked to see the mountain gorillas in Rwanda. And then was on the Kyalami Grand Prix racetrack and was driving a race car, a Porsche 911 GT, around the Kyalami Grand Prix racetrack, this world famous racetrack. So, that whole experience, just jet setting across the continent throughout 7 different countries in Africa, was amazing. So people are like fascinated by Black Panther and Wakanda right now, and I was just like, living that, like, it was almost surreal because I was having like that Wakanda experience. It's like Wakanda forever, it's like Africa forever. So I was having that experience. I feel like part of the movement because my whole show is dedicated to changing the narrative about Africa, because we always hear about war, poverty, and famine, and then my show is all about extreme adventure, culture, and food. So you're seeing parts of Africa that you never knew existed.
Brother, that I'll tell you, man, and that is so powerful to have experiences across 7 different countries on the continent. And what's interesting is, like, my wife and I went in 2016. We went to Tanzania, and so we hung out in Dar es Salaam. We went to the Morogoro region and went on a safari, but then we also spent time on Zanzibar. And we were just in Tanzania, but even in the different areas, things were so different, right? There's so many different tribes and different cultures, and you do see some poverty, but you see a lot of wealth and a lot of people doing it. I saw a lot of my contemporaries, brothers who were just going to work and doing their thing, and people with their families and school kids. We went and visited a school. I mean, all these different things show you the vast diversity, and that was just in one country. So I can only imagine jumping across the borders to various countries all throughout, because one of the things I did notice when we were there, we were talking to a lot of the brothers and sisters there, was a lot of them had not left Tanzania, right? And so that to me just lends itself to the fact that each country or each area is going to kind of be indigenous to itself and be totally different from an area that might butt up right next against it. You know what I'm saying? So Did you see vast differences, even though some of the countries might be next to each other? Did you see vast differences between various countries and various, tribes and cultures and all of that all throughout the continent?
Of course. Africa is not monolithic. That's what's so dope about it, is that, like in Zambia, there's 72 tribes in Zambia. South Africa has 11 official languages. These are all different cultures and tribes within, within one country. So that was what was incredible about Africa, is that everybody is so many different flavors floating around. It's endless. And so it's just it's eye opening, because when you think about like how everybody tries to lump, or Western media tries to lump Africans into one broad stroke, and even black people do that themselves, but that's because you don't know. And when you get there, it's totally different. Or even when we landed in Rwanda, and we just came from Lesotho, and we were wearing our Lesotho blankets, which you could, if you watch Black Panther, that's what the guy from Get Out, that was with his tribe. They were wearing blankets, like those real light blankets and stuff from Lesotho. And so we was rocking the blankets in the airport, and then the people from Rwanda, they were like, "Where'd you get those from?" We said Lesotho, like it's down the street, and they're like, "Where's that?" And we was like, "Oh, it's a country located inside of South Africa." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know that." So it's just, that's how like diversity is with, you know, people in Africa. Like they may not be familiar with other countries on the continent, and then they shouldn't be obligated to, because that's you know, they're not from their country. You know, they just they live in their country and doing their thing. But you know, so it was like, oh, okay, like we feel like we have to be obligated to know, or at least I do, to feel to be obligated to know about various parts of Africa, or even all of them. But you know, it's like, it's not that, because we've been, you know, subconsciously conditioned to think that it's all the same. Knowing that it's different, it's like a weird dichotomy. We know it's different, but then we still, as African Americans, because of the American side, we still like have these broad stroke viewpoints of Africa. When on the continent, they're like, I didn't even know Lesotho existed, you know, or what that even is.
Wow. You know, it's powerful, because that goes back to what you mentioned earlier on about being present allows you to control your own narrative or tell your own story. Because I think a lot of what we suffer from as African Americans, or also with people who don't have exposure to the continent of Africa, is that, you know, the story that's been told about the continent of Africa is one monolithic viewpoint of what everything is over there. It's, you know, they only harken back to the, you know, the relief aid commercials where, you know, the kids with distended bellies and flies on their nose and all of that. And it's like that's the only imagery that comes out. It's like I think Akon, I was watching a clip, you know, the rapper Akon, he said something that was powerful. He said, you know, the thing about the U.S. has the best PR in the world. They know how to present the best imagery of the United States to the rest of the world, whereas a lot of the countries that maybe aren't quite as developed or not as wealthy, so to speak, don't necessarily have the best PR, so they don't always control their narrative or put the best version of themselves out there for the world to see, to counterbalance that story that's been told.
Right.
And so that's, wow, dude, that is, that's powerful. So too, like, I mean, specifically, I guess now talking about Worldwide Nate African Adventures, like, how did that change you?
It was to say what changed. It was nurturing. It was a nurturing experience, because even though soon I'll get my DNA results and find out where I'm from, but it was just nurturing to know that to have even add more experiences, more countries to more African countries to my experience. So I've been to 8 countries total in Africa, because I've been to Zanzibar before, and so it was just, it's kind of like I have a comfort of knowing that I've had these variety of experiences in Africa, and I know firsthand, as opposed to my curiosity. Like, I'm still curious to visit other places, but just that initial like hurdle of the curiosity, I feel like I jumped over it. Now it's really like, oh, when I go back, I could just really have more detailed experiences instead of like getting the overall perspective. And you know, I've been to South Africa twice now, so I was able to do that in South Africa in certain places that I had visited before. So as right now is just really, I'm excited about visiting Africa more and having these more connecting experiences, more connected experiences, and just trying to learn like more of the language, and especially I would say when I find out, like when I get my DNA results and find out where I'm from, then I'll really like dive into really investing and learning more about those cultures, about that country, and you know, trying to figure out which tribe I would choose to be from. And then,
now, did you do the African ancestry, or did you do Ancestry or 23andMe? Which one did you do to do your ancestry test?
Family Tree DNA is the one associated with Dr. Gates, Lewis Gates.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Henry Louis Gates. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Because and does you like my wife and I we just did the one with Ancestry.com where you kind of get the percentage breakdown, and so I found out I'm 76% of African descent, 22% of European descent, like 24 of that 76% was Congo, Cameroon. 17% was Ghana, Ivory Coast. 17% was Nigeria. 10% Mali, and so we kind of got the percentage breakdown, but I was looking at some various tests in which they can trace back like one of either your maternal or your paternal line back to a specific tribe. So with yours, is it going to be like a percentage breakdown, or can they trace you back to your specific different tribes or locations, or what?
I don't know the breakdown, but I do know that I had filled out 2 swabs for the paternal and the fraternal, so. Okay. We'll see. I just my team sent it to me, and when I open up the results, I'll see what happens.
Awesome. That's cool, man. That'll be dope. Even we didn't get the specific breakdown to the various tribes, but even just knowing like the percentage breakdown, and I had my parents to do it as well to kind of know their breakdown as well. And just to kind of know that, 24% of my DNA connects with, the brothers and sisters in the Congo and Cameroon. You know what I'm saying? Just to know specifically that just kind of helps you to have a different viewpoint and a different connection, especially when you see things that are going on and you see folks that are from there. It kind of gives you a kind of like your kindred spirit, so to speak. You dig?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's. I'm excited for you that you were able to have that you have that information. Because a lot of you got to think about all the people that don't. So yeah. You're in a class of your own right now.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. And so to that, and you've traveled, like I said, 60 countries, 6 continents, and you're gonna make it 7 this year because you mentioned you're gonna hit Antarctica this year. Like, do you have any for like brothers who maybe have not traveled a lot, or maybe haven't really just kind of dipping their toe into the whole concept of getting outside the U.S. border? Do you have any like travel hack or tip that maybe some of the brothers can incorporate to just get started? You know what I'm saying? Do you have any tips that may be useful?
Well, I always try to keep it simple when people ask me this question. And it's really the most important thing is to book the ticket. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you don't book the ticket, then you can't go. So you can't apply any tips that I could possibly give. But at the end of the day, it's like the number one hack is to go, is to book the ticket. And I would always tell people ask me, where should I go on my first trip? And I always suggest that people go to where they really want to go.
That's right.
And if it takes longer to save up and get there, then so be it, because I tell people, you don't know what the situation is, and life happens. So at least if you put all your effort into going where you really want to go, and you are unable to go on another trip, you will have that experience to have been to the place that was really your heart's desire, and you'll be able to live on that experience forever. It's like, and that's the thing. It goes back to the United Negro College Fund commercial. A terrible thing is a mind to waste. It's like, but an experience in life is a terrible thing to waste, because just like education, and nobody can take that away from you. Your travel experiences, and just experiences in life, nobody can take them away from you. But you can lose a house, you can lose a car, you can lose clothes, all those things that are material. But those experiences, they'll be there forever. And it's like I'm wealthy in experiences.
Dude, and you said so much right there, and that's one of the things that we're focused on from a family perspective. My wife and my 2 little ones is really being focused on experiences, because to your point, a house, a car, those things are tangible and they go, right? But the memory of the relationships that you make, the experiences and the things that you all can share, that you can then ultimately share with others. I mean, I like the fact that you document your journeys. I mean, that's kind of what we do when we go somewhere. We like to put everything on Instagram and Facebook, and not to show off, but we do that so that then inspires other people to maybe look at life a little bit differently, and maybe make us take a step and book a ticket themselves. Because, for every person that comes back and thinks, oh, you trying to this and you trying to that, there's one more person that's in my DM saying like, hey, dude, what site did you book your flight on? Or where'd you find this hotel? Or where'd you find this tour at? It opens up that world of possibilities. So to your point, fellas, the first thing you need to do, well, get your passport, one. But step two, after getting your passport, is just book your ticket. Find out where you want to go and go. And Nate gave some, monumental advice. Go where you want to go, because tomorrow's not promised. So at least, if you can only make one trip, at least that trip was a place that you really wanted to go. So focus on that, book the ticket, then we can talk about tips and hacks and all that kind of stuff. But first, get your passport, but then book your ticket. And I guess one more question before we kind of finish this thing up. Why is it so important, in your opinion, for the brothers to travel and to travel and get the kids outside of the borders here and see different things? Why is that so important to you, just based on your experiences?
Yeah, it's important because it's important because it just shapes your experience and your temperament, and it allows you to understand that the American way isn't the only way, and it just makes you more of a better person because say you feel a way about how something should be done. And then, me and you having this, I can speak for myself. If I feel like, oh, we should do it this way, and then you say, oh no, we should do it this my way, I have enough patience and temperament to be like, okay, well let's try it your way and see what happens, because I understand that there are nations with millions of people that do things totally different than the way we do them in the U.S. and they're living perfectly fine in peace and harmony, and probably have a better quality of life than us, better education, less crime, better quality of food, etc. But that's the thing, is what you said earlier, as far as America does a great job of marketing the best of America. And they do a great job of marketing the American way to American people with the whole notion of, oh, the greatest country on earth and all that. And it's like, why? Why are we the greatest country on earth? Just
real talk.
17 people just got killed. Kids. For no reason. And we 200 people, 200 kids, not even people, but 200 kids since 2003. And we're the greatest nation on earth. If we're the greatest, then we should be protecting every citizen from things like that from happening. So when you understand the propaganda that's being sold to even us, you understand like that when you go to other places and you see for yourself what is happening. And then what happens is that you get more involved in the well-being of yourself and in your community, because you had these different experiences and you've seen different things. Because a lot of times, when you think about bringing it back down to the neighborhood, you see you got the guy from the hood who probably never been downtown, and then because I was able to go downtown, that allowed me to see a different the hood, where I lived, and quote unquote the nice part of town. So then I saw different opinions, I had different experiences. So it's just amplifying that whole thought process, just on a whole global scale. And then when kids, you have kids, so when now they have an advantage because just their ears are tuned different because they're seeing different languages, or just seeing signs in different languages, or hearing different words spoken different languages, and seeing signs and having different experiences. So their mind isn't being locked into just one way of living. They're having a variety of experiences, and it's just a great thing, because I have friends who've been fortunate to have parents that they've been traveling since they were kids. Or I met a guy once who did in high school. His parents allowed him to do a study abroad in high school, and I was like, wow. I always was upset that I didn't do study abroad in college, but he spent a semester or a year in Australia when he was in high school. So it's like, oh, that's possible, So that's why it's important, because if I did a study abroad in high school and I graduated from high school 20 years ago now. So if I had some relationships with people in different countries, in a different country that have been 20 years strong, you know, your network is your net worth. You know, who knows where I would be right now. So, and that's the thing is with traveling, you meet great people, and that's how I'm able to travel so fluidly. Because people ask me around the world now to this day, because I've been traveling and I'm a people person. I build relationships and value relationships and people. And now, you know, people ask me, oh, you know, do you travel by yourself? And I'm like, well, I get on a plane by myself, but when I land somewhere, I more likely know somebody because I just have a global network. I pretty much know people in most countries that I'm visiting, or, you know, or if I don't know them, I'm eventually, before I leave, I'm going to have new relationships where I can always come back to that place and have a great time, or recommend people to go to that place and then help them out when they decide to travel there.
Dude, you said so much there, but fellas, really, your net worth is your network. And what better than to build...
Your network is your net worth.
That's right. Your network is your net worth. And so what better to build your net worth in that regard than on a global scale, right? There are, 7.7 billion people in the world, right?
Wow.
Don't limit yourself to just your neighborhood or just your community or just your crew. Step outside, get a different purview of the world. You know, experience different cultures, eat different foods, have conversations with people from different backgrounds or different perspectives, because at the end of the day, exposure leads to opportunity. And that exposure gives you the opportunity to flip perceptions on their side, these preconceived notions that we have about people. But then ultimately, that gives us the ability to build bridges. That gives us the ability to connect. That gives us the ability to be the glue, you know, that holds folks together, that holds communities together, because we have the ability to learn from different things. What happens when we don't step outside of our comfort zone is the fact that we don't open ourselves up to being able to learn from different places and from different things or from things that are not common to us. But once you open up that gate, you open up that window, you have the capacity to then learn from folks from all different walks of life, and you can pull a little bit from over here, a little bit from over there, a little bit from over there. And using a cooking analogy, you kind of throw it all in the pan, you saute it up, you season it the way you want to. A little bit of Lowry's, you know, we black folks, right? You got to season you'll season it up a little bit, man, and next thing you know, you have this dish that works for you and your family, but it's pulled from all these different places. Let's not limit ourselves, fellas. I mean, listen to Nate's story, and, you know, definitely you're going to have to get on social media and follow this brother, and you're going to have to check out, you know, Worldwide Nate African Adventures. Like, tell the brothers what you have going on now, man. Like, what's, you know, so this is released the end of March, and so Worldwide Nate African Adventures, they can currently find that online somewhere, and what else is going on with you?
Right. So the Africa channel bought the show and is airing on UMC.TV right now. Shout out to Angela Northington for believing in the show and bringing it to the network. UMC stands for Urban Movie Channel, which was founded by Mr. Robert L. Johnson, Bob Johnson, the founder of BET. So he's still providing a platform for urban content and for black people to show their art and their work. So he is the creator of that platform. So UMC.TV is available online on the Apple Store, iOS, Android app. You can also watch it through Amazon channels. So if you're sitting at home, you could turn on your TV and go on throw on your smart TV and go to Amazon and access it, and even Roku. So 4 episodes are streaming right now, which premiered December 15th. 4 episodes are streaming right now, and then we're going to bring back the remaining 9, which will start April 6th. Okay. So right now you can go to UMC.TV. They have a 7-day free trial. After that, it's $4.99 a month. So you can binge watch the first 4 episodes, or you can wait, you know, and also watch other content on the Urban Movie Channel. There's a lot of great titles on there, and as well, a lot of great content producers. My network mates are making a lot of great content that can be viewed on the Urban Movie Channel. And you know, you can follow me on Worldwide Nate on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, just to stay in tune with what I'm doing on a daily basis. My IG stories are off the chain. You know, I'm always promoting great content on my Instagram feed. So you can follow me there, and just when this episode comes out shortly after, I'll be in Africa. So I'll be going back to Africa starting April 17th. And I'll be there for about 4 to 6 weeks. So I'll be, you know, posting more great content from Africa. and it's gonna be, you know. So I hope that you guys are inspired about what I've been saying. I hope you're, you know, curious to watch the show Worldwide Nate African Adventures. I hope you share it with your friends and just, you know, promote and be part of my network. You know, we could all be part of the network and grow together and keep promoting Africa and controlling the narrative of where we come from, and that's pretty much it.
Man, now brother, please believe you are now part of the Black Fathers Now family. I mean, now Grant, are you a dad? Are you a dad?
No, I'm not a dad.
Okay, you're not a dad, but you're still part of Black Fathers Now, the family. So I'm just, you've been adopted by us, brother. You're part of us.
It sounds good. I receive it.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And we're definitely part of your network as well. So don't, you know, anything that we can do going forward to help you out, man, you don't hesitate to reach out, man, because, and brothers, definitely reach out to Nate, man. Follow him on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure to go check out umc.tv, Worldwide Nate African Adventures, and definitely if you communicate with him, shoot him a DM, whatever, let him know you heard about him on Black Fathers Now, and definitely support the brother, man. 100% support this brother. He's doing great things. He's helping to reshape the narrative, rewrite the narrative, and we need to do that. We need to take control of that because our future depends on it, and the perspective that we view the world really depends on it as well. So definitely support this brother, man. Is there anything that you'd like to leave us with, my man?
Well, I just want to say, just go book your travel. Go travel the world. Get a passport. You feel empowered because that means you can always leave. You can always get on a plane and leave and experience something new. So just get your passports. Take your kids on the trip. Take your girl. Because I always say it's 3 ways to see the world. It's 3 ways to see the world. You want to see the world single, you want to see the world with your woman, and you want to see the world with your family. So hit the trifecta, and then just keep traveling the world.
Now, fellas, take heed to that advice. Get your passport, book your ticket, get out there, and share with us what you learn. And as always, once again, we want to thank Nathan Fluellen, a.k.a. Worldwide Nate, for spending time with Black Fathers Now and inspiring all of us to go get our passports, book tickets, get out there, see the world, and share it with our girls and with our kids. Let's put it out there and get out there and do it. So definitely, y'all make sure to follow him, Worldwide Nate, on all the social media handles out there. And as always, definitely follow Black Fathers Now on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Visit blackfathersnow.com. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, subscribe, make comments, share it, inspire that next brother to get out there, take a trip, and see the world. This episode has been brought to you by BlackFamilyApparel.com. Visit BlackFamilyApparel.com to grab some dope apparel that helps to reshape the narrative of the black family. We're going to change the perspective of what's put out there about us, the black family, black people. Visit BlackFamilyApparel.com. And fellas, I guess until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace. Yo, fellas, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And always visit blackfathersnow.com, as well as follow Black Fathers Now on virtually every social media platform you can think of. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Just follow us and engage with us, man. Look forward to hearing from you. And I guess until next time, I'll holler at you. Peace.